What's up guys, my name is Ace, and the early access beta for Vanguard is now live on PlayStation. And with this, since I did manage to get some experience with the game last week, I wanted to share just a few tips to help you get the most out of your beta experience. These aren't necessarily going to be tips to help you absolutely dominate your opponents or anything like that, although some of them will help a bit. These are more so just little tips that I noticed that will help you get on your feet in the game. And before we get into this, just wanted to give a quick shout out to my Twitch channel. I'm going to be streaming this beta quite a bit throughout the weekend. So if you guys haven't followed me on Twitch yet, I will leave a link in the description down below so you can come check out some streams. And this is where I want to bring up the number one tip. Remember, this is a beta. None of your stats are going to be carrying over to the full game. It doesn't matter what your kill-death ratio is. None of that matters. And because of this, this is the time where I highly encourage you to play around with everything in the beta. Everything we've got access to. Try all the weapons, try all the equipment, mess around with all the perks a little bit. This is the best time to be trying things out because that also maximizes your odds of being able to give good feedback. If you only play with one gun the entire time or one set of perks the entire time, you're not going to be able to give nearly as much feedback as if you played with a little bit of everything. Now, having said that, there is one perk in particular that I wanted to point out here that I do encourage you to use at least at the beginning of the beta when you're first getting into it and you want to try and learn the maps and how enemies tend to flow and everything like that. And this is the radar perk in Tier 2. With this perk, this allows you to see enemies that are firing guns without the subsonic attachment on there. You can see them show up on the minimap just like with old Call of Duties if they weren't using a suppressor. This extra information that you gain about enemy players is very important, especially early on when you don't know the maps and you don't know the hot spots and where people tend to go to. So this is the type of perk that's really going to help maximize your learning experience when it comes to these new maps. Additionally, something I did touch on there briefly that is completely unique to this Call of Duty game: silencers or suppressors do not keep you off the radar for enemies using the radar perk. Instead, it's the subsonic ammo type. That is what you use to stay off the radar. So if you are trying to build that stealthy flanking playstyle up, make sure you're using the subsonic attachment rather than suppressors. I mean, you can still use a silencer to keep your gun quieter as you're shooting, but just know that will not keep you off the radar for anybody that's using that radar perk. Next up, I've actually been diving deep into the weapon stats already. I know, I'm crazy, I have an addiction to weapon stats, but I've already got a full spreadsheet laid out for the beta build, since we can see the actual in-game stats in the menus by hitting R2 when you're in the attachment menus, just like in Black Ops Cold War. But the big thing I found out here is almost every single gun in the game only requires one headshot mixed in with body shots in order to reduce the number of shots to kill. And this isn't what we're used to seeing in the more recent Call of Duty games. Most Call of Duty games over the past like 5 or 6 years require several headshots to reduce the number of shots to kill, and therefore headshots haven't been super amazing for the past several years. However, in this game, at least in its current state, headshots are extremely important to help you win gunfights. So don't be afraid to go for headshots. They are absolutely worth going for in Vanguard. After that, I did want to point out there are a bunch of settings that you probably want to have a look at before getting into the beta that will improve your experience overall. I made an entire video about it yesterday going through each one in detail, but there's the one setting in particular. This is the one that you absolutely should be turning off immediately, and this is depth of field. Your game is going to look so much better as soon as you turn depth of field off. I have no idea why they decide to keep this on by default because it makes the game look terrible and it actually makes things look blurry, which is going to affect your performance as well. So if you aren't planning on going and checking out that video I uploaded yesterday on all those settings, at the very least, that's the one setting that you should absolutely go and turn off. And finally, for this quick video to help you get the most out of the beta experience, even though Call of Duty betas are often seen as demos, and in a lot of ways they are, it is fairly close to launch, they do often make a good handful of changes between beta and launch. There is a lot of room for certain things to change. Obviously, they're not going to be completely reworking core mechanics or anything, but if you want this game to end up being the best that it can be, I'd recommend playing with a notepad handy, or use your phone or something to make some notes. Keep it with you as you're playing, and that way, if you think of something, if you notice something in the game where it's like, that didn't feel right, I didn't like this, I wish it would be like this instead, take a note of that and compile these notes over the course of the weekends, and then when the time comes to provide that feedback to Sledgehammer, you'll have that all listed down and you don't have to try and think back to all those little individual situations and those little things that you noticed. I often find if I forget to take notes, there are little bits and pieces that I miss, and therefore that prevents me from giving the best feedback possible. And just a reminder, when you are giving feedback, please be respectful and constructive with your feedback. This is the absolute best way to get your voice heard. This is the best way to improve the game long term. If you're rude to the developers, they're not going to listen to you. So please be ready to give feedback, and please do so in a respectful and constructive manner. But with that, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to upload this quick video with a few things to help get you on your feet here. And I'm interested to hear from you guys that have already got a little bit of hands-on time with it now that the beta is actually live. What are you guys thinking about this beta so far? Are you generally enjoying yourself? Do you already have some feedback, some things that you don't like about the game that you'd like to see changed? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.